They were left with very little choice.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I think it's true. It's just unfortunate that October 7th had to happen, but, it's kind of classic frame. It didn't happen in a vacuum.
And what do you think about what's going on right now with Israel? It's all over social media, all over the news.
I mean,
What's your
take a while to articulate the point, but I think they're committing a genocide. And
Okay.
as unfortunate as October 7th was, I think,
Okay.
that part is kind of non-negotiable.
Okay.
The genocide is leagues beyond more non-negotiable.
Okay. Why do you think it's a genocide?
I think that's international consensus that's built up. I think the situation that they've put the Palestinians in, where they effectively can't escape except for labor,
Okay.
really mimics what a genocide would be. And
Okay.
I think even if you want to concede the ground that that's not the perfect term,
Okay.
I think within international law, that's about the closest as we could get to describe it.
Okay. So, with the population of the Palestinian people, even in the last 2 years, growing.
Yeah.
Okay. And the numbers don't really reflect a genocide. For context, in the last 10 days in Sudan, there's been the same amount of deaths that have happened in Gaza over the past 2 years, right? That, I'd say, is a genocide on the Sudanese people.
I mean, I would agree.
Okay.
I would agree with, of course, that it's a genocide in Sudan.
Yeah,
I think
why would you
in Palestine, specifically within Gaza, the population has gone up.
Mhm.
I think, and I will not position myself as an authority,
Okay.
take the humility, that effectively the Israeli tactic has been to just keep them languishing. You see the lead up to October 7th, it was to get Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Arab world to kind of say, maybe we could just forget Palestine and secure recognition of Israel. Instead, it was essentially to prevent genocide and just keep them, the kind of word used nowadays is the open air prison.
Okay.
And when they realized that the situation was untenable,
Right.
I think if before October 7th the population was increasing, by now I think there's really no case to be made that the population in Gaza has been decimated.
Well,
Like,
the death toll claimed by Hamas or the Gaza
I'm
Health
willing to
Ministry
accept it.
is 67,000 people being killed in this war. What Israel's reporting is that they've killed about 25,000 militants.
Okay.
That would create the death toll to be about 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 civilian to combatant ratio.
I think first of all, the death toll is it's just hard to ascertain.
Okay.
Because there's
I'm taking numbers from Hamas, straight from Hamas. Their objective would be to boost that number up as much as they could.
That's true.
To get international support.
But we also have to take into account that Hamas's actual kind of governance, the people who are running Gaza,
Yeah, they're the government of Gaza.
effectively doesn't exist. It's been decimated.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully,
That's
Israel's
like
been
citing-
able to eliminate a lot of Hamas. And no, not thankfully, or they haven't.
The way it's been done, I would not be thankful.
What do you think would be a better way?
Indiscriminate bombing has not been good.
Well, listen, I would say that there's been about
refusing the
2,000.
entry of food has not.
There's been about 2,000 pounds dropped, 200,000 pounds dropped on Gaza in bombs, right? That reflecting the death toll of what it is would mean that the bombing isn't indiscriminate. It's very tactical and precise, if that's the case.
But I disagree. I really
Why?
think, I think, you can talk about, and it sounds almost like I'm trying to,
No, please. Like, this is an
No.
open discussion. Like, that's
Like,
why we're doing this. We want to hear people have to say it.
First of all, it's just, again, the numbers. I think there's significant reason, even from the people who we might accept, like Hamas won to garner support,
Okay.
are hard to ascertain.
Okay.
I think, the bombing, the amount of people who have died, who are clearly not militants,
Okay.
I really think it's not up for dispute. It has
Right.
been indiscriminate.
Again, like, I'd say that any war is tragic. I'd say that whether it's in Iraq, Afghanistan, whether it was Ukraine, Russia.
But we didn't wall off Kabul and bomb all Kabulis.
Well, if you take another situation where the stated goal of the neighboring country is to completely eliminate and kill and exterminate everyone in their neighboring country, which was Hamas's goal, it says it in their charter.
Yeah. Which was not, but those aren't Palestinians.
Right, but they are
agree,
the governing, they're the governing body of the Palestinians. It's unfortunate they have to live under a rule that is a dictatorship.
Don't think I disagree.
That they're not the governing body of the Palestinians in Gaza?
That they are the governing body of the Palestinians, but I don't think Palestinians should bear the burden for that.
Okay. On
I don't-
October 7th, there were Hamas terrorists and
Yeah.
Palestinians that entered Israel, normal
Yes.
citizens that entered Israel and committed crimes against humanity.
yeah.
I'd say that pre-October 7th, there was a big amount of support for Hamas in Gaza, even though that there were opposing groups that were killed by Hamas
Yeah.
in Gaza.
Well,
Yeah,
I think tactically that makes sense. I mean, they really had no one else to represent them.
Right, but
The other groups were, of
October
course-
7th,
Yeah.
76% of the West Bank supported Hamas's actions on October 7th, right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So then saying that Palestinians aren't Hamas when majority support Hamas is a hard thing to say. Like, if a population supports their governing body's actions,
Yeah.
they are what their government's doing, essentially.
Yeah. I disagree. I think for two reasons. First
Okay.
of all,
Yeah.
I think the problems are, I mean, really the Palestinians were left with very little choice. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. Like, you know, I think it's true. It's just unfortunate that October 7th had to happen, but, you know, it's kind of a classic refrain. It didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened with
I agree.
years of things leading up
It
that
didn't.
isolated Hamas to appear as if it was the only option. And second of all, I think even if people agree,
Okay.
that doesn't really, you know, the common refrain that's used in this, when people say war is bad, you know,
Yeah.
is of course World War II. So what, you disagree with the firebombing of Tokyo or the bombing of Dresden? Yeah, I think
You disagree
it
with
was-
that?
it was wrong to indiscriminately bomb people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand the logic of it's wrong to indiscriminately bomb people, but the other option on that end, in regards to World War II, was letting Nazi Germany win. And that we all would be living in a different reality today.
Yeah.
If Nazi Germany did win, it would essentially be an Aryan race where no one had rights, no
Yeah.
minority had rights. They wanted to take control of the world.
Yeah.
They were doing that slowly but surely through Europe, quite quickly actually. And Churchill made that decision to indiscriminately bomb Dresden
Yeah.
and other places. And
But we shouldn't act like that's been a decision
I
that's
100% agree.
that since then has been just 100% agreed with. That was the death knell. In the same way,
No.
the atomic bombing of Hiroshima wasn't.
Yeah, I don't
100%.
think I think that technology has advanced since then.
Yeah.
And I believe that in Gaza, I'm Israeli. I
Yeah.
live in Israel.
I-
Yeah. In Gaza, it's not indiscriminate bombing. There is tactical decisions made with precise bombings, and the unfortunate reality is that Hamas uses places like schools, hospitals, mosques,
Yeah.
churches as headquarters to keep their ammunition and to keep their fighters. And
But
not only that, they
that's
build
the thing.
tunnels under
That's the thing.
these grounds.
You're saying that statement is equivalent to. I mean, that's the thing. I
Okay.
think it's kind of a mismatch, willingly or otherwise,
Okay.
of language, right?
Right.
Hamas is a militant group, right?
Okay.
Agreed. They did October 7th.
Mhm.
But they're also a governing group, right? That
Correct.
would be like, and you can conflate the two, but they're kind of two separate things.
No,
There's both
but-
the civil.
The difference is that,
That
let's
would
say
be-
Israel, for example, you have the government of Israel,
Yeah.
and then you have the IDF,
Yes.
right? One in the same in the terms of like they're the Israeli government
Yes.
which controls the
Yeah.
military wing of the government, okay? But they don't use
But
hospitals.
is the Israeli situation the same as the Palestinian
well,
situation?
if Hamas really cared about the Palestinian people, right?
yeah.
Like they say they do, they wouldn't put the Palestinian people in harm's way in order to get the world support. They wouldn't build headquarters under hospitals so that Israel
I would say
is put in a
that by
position where they
itself
have to.
is kind of an illustration of the desperation, right? You know, again, we could disagree if whether or not that's
Okay.
right or not, but the
Okay.
fact that it has to be done is way more illustrative of the context they found themselves in. And it's
Here I'll disagree with you because in 2005, okay, Israel withdrew from Gaza.
Yes.
They gave it back. They gave it to the Palestinians, right? Not back to the Palestinians. In 1967, when Israel took control of Gaza, it was held by Egypt. Egypt had control of Gaza.
yeah.
It was never Palestinian land, okay?
What do you
Because
mean?
Egypt
by
had it was Ottoman, and then it was British, and then it was Egyptian.
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
The West Bank, for example, it was Ottoman.
Jordanian.
Exactly.
I
Pre-67,
would
it was Jordanian.
Disagree. I
Wasn't Jordanian.
really fail to see the relevance of that.
What I'm saying is that
Yeah.
my point was that in Gaza, Israel gave it back to the Palestinian
Yes.
people in 2005. And what essentially happened is that Hamas won a democratic election by also killing
Yeah.
their opponents, okay? And then instead of investing in their people to try and build Gaza into a Singapore of the Middle East
But I
and to
don't
live
think
side by side with the
That's not
Israelis.
possible.
But the Israelis were willing to live side by side. That was
That's
the reasoning.
not true. They were bombing greenhouses. They destroyed all their infrastructure before they left.
But they were willing to live side by side. They were willing to live side by side with the Palestinians. That was like the point
On
of the
their
Oslo
terms.
Accords, for example. The point of the Oslo
Yeah.
Accords was to create peace
Which
in the
was
Middle
some
East.
10 years ago, before
Sorry?
2000, which was some 10 years ago,
Yeah,
before
yeah,
2005.
of course.
After 2005,
Yeah,
it's
and
pretty clear that
in between that, there were a lot of mass killings from the Palestinian
Yes.
side, a lot of retaliations from the Israel side.
Mhm.
But the goal of withdrawing from Gaza was to give it back to the Palestinians and to create
Yeah.
some sort of peace. But instead of building infrastructure that Hamas could have, they got billions of dollars from worldwide
that's-
support. They dug out pipes from the ground and they built rockets out of them to shoot back into Israel. They didn't invest into bomb shelters. They
Yeah.
invested into shooting bombs.
Why would they
into
need
Israel.
to invest into bomb shelters?
Why does Israel invest into bomb shelters? Why do I have a bomb shelter in my house in Israel?
Yeah, well, why do the Palestinians?
Why don't they?
Why should they?
Why should
I
we?
think
Wait, but why should
The,
we?
Why
should we?
Palestinian kind of... The main premise of Palestinian liberation is essentially that they should...
Violence? Is that the main premise?
I mean, I think they've recognized that that's the pragmatic option.
It's not though. Why do they have to be liberated through violence? They have never had a leadership that is willing to come to some sort of civil agreement with the Israeli society in terms of a prosperous future where we can live side by side, right?
Yeah.
Egypt,
Well, because
we
I
got
don't
peace.
think either side, neither Israel nor
No,
Palestine,
there's
has
been many
either
times
fought-
on the Israel
has
side where
been-
they've tried to get peace. The Oslo Accords, the Abraham Accords. We have peace now with Sudan, Morocco, Bahrain, the UAE, Jordan, and Egypt. That's a step towards peace in the Middle East, and we're slowly getting there. The Saudi Arabia is coming in soon,
Yeah.
hopefully. Unfortunately, on the Palestinian side, there has never been a movement or a governing body that's
mean-
willing to get peace.
I'm
Can you agree with me
I've
on
been
that?
trying to not say it
Okay,
because
say it.
it's kind of...
That's okay. You can
It's
say
a
what
s-
you want.
I think the main premise of Palestinian liberation is the idea that Israel should not exist.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I
And it
also
says it in
think-
Hamas's charter.
Yeah, and I also think even if we could say that's not feasible,
Okay.
like I
Do you agree with that?
100% it's not feasible. I think
No, that's not
historic-
feasible.
Yeah,
Do you agree with that?
that it's I
That
think
Israel shouldn't exist.
that is one of the main things you have to accept.
That on the Palestinian side, you have
Yeah.
to accept that.
Yeah, maybe that it's we can agree that it's not feasible, but we have to
Feasible,
accept it
it's not.
as a beginning of debate.
Oh, okay. I agree.
Yeah.
That's their goal.
In the
Their
same
goal
way,
in their charter is to
We can
eliminate
say
Israel.
the end of capitalism is not coming soon,
Okay.
but I think any reasonable debate has to say that capitalism has done harm to the world, right?
No.
I think in the same
You-
way.
You don't think capitalism has created such a free society for the world?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, then that goes against
I
what
think
you
it's
said.
just outlived its usefulness.
Okay.
But
Interesting.
That's not the point of the debate.
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
not one of it.
you know, like it's the same thing. We can agree that it's never going to happen, right? I
Right.
think totally true. That is, or at least not
Do
within
you
our
believe
lifetime.
that? Do you believe that it should?
It should not exist.
It should not exist?
Yeah.
You believe Israel should not exist? What do you
Yeah.
say about the 2 million Arab Israelis that live in Israel, okay, with equal voting rights, with equal job opportunities, with equal education systems,
Yeah.
with equal living? Okay?
I would say
2 million of them. That's 25% of the Israeli population, okay, that live with equal rights that are Arab Israelis.
that's a false characterization.
Why?
In the same way, we could say the same about African Americans in the North before 1965. Yeah, they had equal voting rights. They had equal opportunities.
Right.
Any black boy in Harlem could have said, "I'm going to go to Harvard." But let's not kid ourselves.
Okay.
You know, the vast majority of the Israeli working class
The-
is
No, the Israeli Arabs, every single Israeli Arab that holds Israeli citizenship has equal rights. Has equal
that-
rights to their Jewish counterpart, to their
Yeah.
Christian counterpart, to
again-
their Armenian counterpart.
okay. If I took a time machine
Right.
and I went to 1955 Harlem,
Okay.
right, and I went uptown and I asked someone, "Do you have the freedom of speech?"
Okay.
Legally, yes. No one could
Right.
disagree with that, right?
Okay.
At least in the North, right?
Okay.
If I asked them, "Do you have the freedom of religion?" Of course, yeah, I could be
Okay.
Jewish, I could be Muslim, I could be whatever, right?
Mm.
If I asked them, could you go vote? Yes, a black person in 1955 Harlem can go to the voting booth and say, "I vote for so-and-so."
Mm.
But I think no one would reasonably say that these people have equal rights.
Why?
The situation they're under very clearly
The Arab
disenfranchises
Israelis?
them.
Arab
Yes.
Israelis, why don't they have equal rights? Give me one example of a reasoning why Arab Israelis that hold the citizenship of Israel do not have equal rights.
I think they're discriminated against in a way,
In how?
often through racial profiling.
Where? My dad.
Yeah.
My dad. Okay. He does construction in
Uh-huh.
Israel. His co-worker is an Arab Israeli, right? Equal rights. They get paid the same. They work the same. They're like brothers. Okay. And I'm talking you from an Israeli to an Arab Israeli Palestinian.
I'm not denying that there are interpersonal connections. I'm not
100%.
Yeah.
But I'd say that
Yeah.
to categorize the entire country of the 2 million Arabs which serve in the hospital system, in the
Yeah.
school system, in the army. There's Arabs in the IDF. Do you know that?
Yeah. Bedouins.
Bedouins and Arab Israelis, both. To categorize that as they're not equal to their counterpart is false categorization of what's happening in Israel. I'd say that there are Palestinians in the West Bank with not equal rights, but that's just because they are controlled by the PLO. They're controlled by the Palestinian Authority,
Okay.
which isn't Israel.
I think the main one that I'm aware of is the freedom to travel.
Okay, and that's but
Even
any Arab Israeli,
even if legally,
yeah,
an Arab Israeli can travel freely,
Mhm.
they're very much under a kind of a regime where they're racistly discriminated against. Let's say an Arab
recognition in the
Israeli
parliament.
wants to visit the West Bank, right? To visit
Yes.
family.
You can.
Are we
can.
seriously going to say it's as easy for
No.
them that they won't
I-
face any discrimination while trying
No.
to get there?
They will.
They will.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But not in the reason that you think. It's not because, oh, Arab, we're going to discriminate against him. It's because throughout history and the creation of Israel and what's happened pre-1967, there were no checkpoints. There were no borders between the West Bank and Israel. It was freely. Like the Palestinians would go into Israel, the Israelis would go to Judea and Samaria, and so on. 1967, okay, post the war, there were lots of terror attacks that were carried out from the Palestinian resistance in the West Bank into Israel, right? The border between the West Bank and Israel is about 5 meters.
Well,
to
but
the
that's again because the Palestinian contention that Israel should not exist.
I agree with you. That's the basis. No, I know.
I think
but what I'm saying is that
if you
is
don't
that
accept that, then we're at an
I know.
impasse. You know.
I feel like anything Israel does will be called discrimination to try and protect themselves. They put up checkpoints in order to try and protect
because
themselves.
their reason for existing is inherently discriminatory.
It's not though. They're one. That's their ancestral homeland.
Again, because I don't support necessarily Hamas. If Hamas suddenly took over all of Israel,
Every Jew would be killed.
Yeah, and did that, right? And said we're going to implement Sharia law instantly.
Every Jew would be killed.
I would be against that.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
I don't want to claim that Israel has necessarily implemented, Torah law, but they've clearly decided.
Israel's a
within certain
secular
parameters.
country. Israel's a secular country. It's not a religious country. Tel Aviv holds the biggest gay march in the world every year.
Yeah.
Okay? They're a secular country. There's women's rights, gay rights, women serve in the IDF. They hold high
They're a
positions
secular
of power.
ethno-nationalist country.
Yes, with equal
think-
rights to all citizens.
I'm principally opposed to an ethno-nationalist country.
Okay.
And I think we're seeing now in Gaza the logical conclusion of an ethno-nationalist country.
Okay. If that was the case, they would kill the Arabs in Israel. If that was the case. They would kill the Palestinians in the
I don't
West
think
Bank.
they're doing it now, and I don't think they'll do it tomorrow, but I think they clearly discriminate against Arabs.
And you think they'll kill the Arabs in Israel? The
I
Arabs
can't foretell the future, but I think if with what's going on in Gaza now,
Okay.
again, indiscriminate bombing,
Okay, well, we're going to disagree that it's indiscriminate bombing.
Okay.
We're going to disagree that Israel's targeting Palestinians because they want to kill civilians. I have friends in the IDF that serve on the front lines that go into houses to try and evacuate civilians, find hostages, and kill Hamas members, okay? Stories that have been told to me from my friends to me directly from an IDF soldier. I'm telling you first-hand information. It's just like mind-boggling that an American can like sit here in America and try to understand a situation in the Middle East that is presented to them through media that they don't have any first-hand information or accounts.
I mean,
it's I don't know. I don't think we're gonna find common ground on that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we had this conversation.
Of course, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well,
Oh, what now?
remind your
I'm
name.
not shaking your hand.
You're not shaking my hand.
No.
Can I take the microphone?
Broda. Oh, of course.
Thank you, brother. Why wouldn't you shake my hand?
I'm not shaking it. No.
Why not? Thanks, brother.